did a video earlier talking about these hearings involving the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Well, there was another part of the hearing. They were talking about the gag order that Jack Smith has requested. Now, it does seem like from her line of questioning and comments that Judge Cannon is not likely to grant the request for Jack Smith, but she did make a note and said, just because of the way I phrase things does not mean which way I'm going to lean. She tried to hedge her bet, so it's in the record that she's at least claiming she's impartial. But here's a couple notes from that, from what I'm reading. She got after Jack Smith's attorney about not citing the specific other cases in gag order comments in a certain way, basically. Even though he referenced them in his arguments, apparently she didn't like the way he referenced them and the way he submitted them as proof of how they were relevant to this case. And I think that just, again, highlights her inexperience and her way of needling at anything she can to help Donald Trump. And then there was a couple of the arguments made by Donald Trump's attorneys. First of all, they're trying to claim that Donald Trump's comments about the FBI going in guns blazing, which didn't actually happen. They had their weapons on them, which is common for law enforcement. And the phrasing of the search warrant, which was that deadly force could be used, which they use in every search warrant, as far as I'm aware, just because they're going into a situation and there's always a chance in those situations that deadly force could be used. Far cry from what they actually, or what the Trump campaign and Trump defense team is trying to say happened. But he said that they're just an attack on Joe Biden, not on the DOJ, not on the FBI. And to me, that's completely ridiculous. The other thing is, by saying his comments lead to threats by others, and that could lead to Donald Trump being jailed, Donald Trump's attorney is arguing that a comment by Steve Bannon could lead to Trump being jailed. Well, if that comment is a direct threat, like the guy who called up the FBI with the Hunter Biden thing, saying that if Hunter Biden was found innocent, they were going to find this guy's, for investigating Hunter Biden and not getting him convicted, they were going to find him, find his family, do all sorts of unspeakable things. If Donald Trump's rhetoric leads to direct threats like that phone call, then yes, it should lead to him being in jail. Especially, if he violates any sort of a gag order that is trying to prevent those kind of threats. But it's all reaching and trying to get around things that would be put in place for any other defendant. And as I've talked about in previous videos, if Donald Trump had good attorneys and he would listen to them, they'd tell him to shut his yap. He'd quit talking to the media about the case, only say no comment, and move on. But he can't do that because he thinks he's smarter than everybody else and he thinks he can talk his way out of these situations. Well, so far, he can't. Eventually, she will be recused by the 11th Circuit because she's going to make some harebrained ruling. And then the next judge isn't going to put up with his bullshit, probably issue the correct gag order, and start dismissing a bunch of this stuff out of hand and get the ball rolling.